What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, Jacked Up Fishing. Well, I'm in my dirty clothes again today. As you know, I've been doing lots of work, but I get to work on my own stuff today. I brought out the old gigging project that I was working on a few years back. It's been sitting here, hasn't moved, I haven't sold it. Gigging season's just about to start. I want to get this boat ready and get out there and do some gigging. Right now, I've already got the floor installed. As you can see, I welded a floor in. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link right here for you guys. Go check it out. I put the floor and I welded the floor and it came out pretty well. It's pretty good. I haven't completed it, but now I'm gonna start with this front deck. As you know, when you're gigging, you wanna be as high up as possible. I'm gonna lift this front deck up, get it ready, and I'm also gonna extend it. I'm gonna extend it back a little bit, make it a little bit longer. That way we can all gig off of it. And I usually go with my buddies. We have some fun. We usually gig 2 off the front at once. I make my own gigs, which I'm gonna show you as well. So this is the flounder season, and hopefully I can show you what I do with this boat, and we can get out there and get some flounder. All right, let's get started on this front deck. So as you can see, this front deck is really seeing its better days. It's all broken loose down here from the welds. Got a little crack up here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna modify this deck and bring it up. I'm gonna try to bring it up into the bottom of here, bottom of this, and then re-weld it. So first thing I gotta do is take this trolling motor mount off. I'm gonna get the grinder out and we're gonna get on it. So here we go, let's get started, get this thing done. That way I can stick some fish in the face. All right, so I got the trolling motor mount off. It just left a little bead on all around these edges, which I can grind down with a flap wheel. Now I have all these little welds right here. It's like this one's kind of cracked. This one's kind of cracked right here. Just got to go by and zap all these real quick and then raise the deck out. I'm going to try to raise it up right underneath the lip of this boat right here, and hopefully it'll be a good attachment point. I also got some extra bracing I bought at the Home Depot, so we'll see how it goes. Let me get to it. Let me see if I can't get these welds knocked off and get this thing out, see what's underneath it. All right, let's go. So after I grinded all the welds and cut them all, I grabbed a few crowbars to try to pry this deck up. And this deck proved to be a lot more difficult to remove than I expected. I ended up having to grab a lot of crowbars, had to move it a lot, and finally started breaking this foam that was inside the deck and acting like glue. And breaking it apart and actually getting the deck to come out. So after prying around with the crowbars, maneuvering the deck, breaking the foam loose from the boat and the deck, and a lot of cursing, I was able to get the deck to finally move. All right, so as you can see, I got it all broke loose right here. There's a little bit of foam in there. I'm gonna get it all the way out, see what I'm working with, make a plan. All right, here we go. So you're probably wondering, why are you taking out that foam? Why are you taking the foam out of the boat? That's the flotation. It is, but watch this, and this is the reason. As you can see, it is soaking wet. foam in the boat. Solid. You know how much weight that is I'm taking out of this boat right now? Plus, I can't weld with it in the boat. But I know it's a hot, controversial topic, but I don't like foam in boats. I figure if it goes down, it's gonna go down. Let it go down. I don't want it anymore anyway. But that's the reason I'm taking this foam out. It's completely waterlogged everywhere I'm hitting it, and that's crazy. It's a lot of weight and it's unnecessary. So I'm taking it out. I'm gonna do some welding on this boat. I don't want it to catch fire anyway. It probably wouldn't anyway, being as soaked as it is, but that's the reason I'm taking it out. So I'm cleaning all this out. And then I got some on that side as well. There wasn't that much foam anyway, but let me get this out and start fresh. No waterlogged foam in the boat. Probably a couple 100 pounds right there in the front of this boat. All right, let's get to it. So what I'm using is a ryobi sawzall with a long blade, just cutting it and chipping away at it with the old pry bar there. And it comes off in pieces and put it in the trash. So now I'm using a skill saw. I'm taking off the edge that curves up. That way I can mount it directly underneath that lip of the boat. I'm also going to cut off any vertical hanging down metal that I don't want, like that spot in the center there. That's going to be removed as well with the skill saw. I got it all cut out. The whole deck's cut out. Got all the pieces cut off, all the edges cut, all the underneath cut. I also cleaned out the boat, vacuumed it out a little bit, got all the little loose pieces out, and now I just got to get ready to prep. I'm gonna put some bracing, more bracing underneath here, make it pretty tough, make it billy built, if you know what I mean, and also extend the deck. I'm gonna extend it about 24 inches, maybe 30 inches, make it extra long. That way 2 people can comfortably work up there. I guess I'm gonna clean up everything. That's enough work for today. I'll come back out tomorrow, try to get this thing welded in a little bit, at least tacked in. And reminds me, guys, if you have a gigging boat or if you've built a gigging boat before, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your ideas about what I'm doing. If you have any good ideas for me and what you would put on your gigging boat if you were to make one. All right, so I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll get this thing tacked in. Let's go. Guys is back on day 2 working on this bad boy. I got the deck laid out right here. I got it all trimmed up and ready to go. I am going to put some more braces on this side and on that side. One just piece of angle, just to beef it up a little bit, you know, in case we got 2 people on the front up here. And then I'll start test fitting it. So let's get to it. Guys, so I put the angle in there in a way that it'll brace up the deck a little bit better in case I have 2 people on the front deck. And this is the way I got it sitting right now. I got it this way in between all the other braces. Same thing with this side. And what I'm welding with is a Hobart 210. It's a handler 210. There it is right there. I also have a Hobart spool gun with aluminum in it right there. And then in order to weld with this, you're gonna need straight argon, 100% argon. So I also have that. It's 100% argon right here. You can see. That's the only way you can weld aluminum, guys. Now, I'm not the best at welding aluminum. I can weld steel really well. Aluminum's a little tricky. You got to mess with it a little bit. It pops, it sputters, but I can get it. It actually welds really well when you get it going, but man, getting it right is tough. So I'm going to try to do it, see what I can do. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to start tacking this stuff up. So what I'm doing here is fine-tuning the gun. I'm just tacking it and noticing it's running a little hot and the wire speed's not quick enough, so I'm just kind of checking it out underneath the deck where nobody sees it, and then I'll get it right. So I made some adjustments to the wire speed. I also turned down the heat a little bit. I had it a little bit too hot, and it seems to be working a little bit better. I'm going to make a few more adjustments to fine-tune it, but it should be good to go from here on out. All right, seems to be tacking really well, really well. So I'm gonna tack all this right now, and then I'll run some beads on it. So what I'm doing is I'm tacking it every 6 inches or so, and that way when I go to weld it, it will not pull. And what I mean by pulling is it'll warp the metal in a certain way or pull the metal off the piece that I'm working with. So tacking it secures it so you can weld it. So I've got it all tacked, and now I'm just running the beads. And what I mean by a bead is a solid weld, 3 to 4 inches long, every few inches, maybe 6 inches or 5 inches apart. And that gives us the strength that we need for the deck. Because this aluminum is so thin, I'm unable to run a solid bead, so I have to keep giving it a break and letting it cool for a second. And that enables me to have good penetration without blowing through or burning through the material. Alright guys, so I got it all welded up. Some of the welds look good, some of them don't. It's just the way it works, but it looks like they're pretty welded up there. Like I said, a couple of them don't look that great, but it's just support. It's nothing crazy. I just want to make sure that it holds. They are penetrating and they are holding. So I'm gonna go ahead and prep this boat now. I have to go ahead and grind the inside here just to make sure I have clean aluminum to get to, and then we'll start test fit. All right, so I got it all prepped up. I used a 60 grit flap wheel on a Ryobi. All right, I got it all prepped up. I used a 60 grit flap wheel from Harbor Freight on a Ryobi battery grinder, and prepped it all the way around. Just cleaned that edge for myself. That way I can weld to it and won't have any issues. Now I gotta prep the top side of the deck. Same way, gotta use the flap wheel. Let me get to that. All right, so if you're wondering if I'm getting good penetration, well, I just flipped this over. This should show you right here. I'm taking it pretty hot, and it's starting to bubble the back side. So that means I need to turn the heat down just a little bit. So that means I'm getting good penetration, that's for sure. That means it's good and it should hold. All right, so I got it test fit in here. It looks pretty good. I just got to beat up some of them spots down there that look like they're a little low. So I'm just gonna tack it. I'm just gonna tack it first, get it in position, and then come back and weld it, tap it up as I go. But that's pretty cool. That's what I wanted to see. Just nice flush deck just below the rail. And then I'm gonna add on another 2.5 feet back here to give it a really long deck. All right, let me get to it. Here we go. All right, let's tack this bad boy down. All right, guys, it's the next day. I went and had a piece of aluminum bent by my buddy. He bent it on a big metal brake. And this is for the back side of the deck here. I also tacked up a piece of angle right there to accept the new piece. So I'm gonna put it on there and then weld all the way down it. Also, I'm going to put in a bunch of bracing on this before I install it. So that's what I'm getting ready to do right now, welding some bracing. Hopefully I can get it done real quick, and we'll start mounting everything. Let's do it. All right, so I got this main spot tacked up. That's just the brace for the back side there, and that's the back of the deck. And then I got two braces I'm gonna put right here. One right here, one right here, just to keep it real strong and sound. So I'm gonna tack them on, then I'll do all my passes on there. All right, here we go. All right, it ain't the prettiest, I know, but it's penetrating. It's doing a good job, as you can see. It's a little tougher to weld, these aluminum welds, I'll tell you that, but I'm gonna have it done. I'll clean them all up. But yeah, getting it together. Let me get this other brace on, I'll get that front brace all welded up. We're on our way to getting it in. Alright, so I got it all braced up. I got it sitting in there right now. I did pull a little bit. That means when it heats up the metal, it kind of warps it a little bit, but I'm gonna get somebody to stand on it, and I'm gonna tack it all the way down this edge, tack it up here, and get it all tacked in. Then I'll start running the bead all the way around this deck. So let me get this thing tacked in. I'm gonna have to get somebody to stand on this or screw it down. We'll see what happens. All right, with a little help from my wife, she's still in her scrubs and her work outfit, but I was able to get the whole deck tacked in. It's all tacked all the way across, nice and smooth, looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid, so all I need to do now is start welding all the way around and passes. Take my time, do a good job, make sure it all penetrates real well, which it is, and that'll be done. So that's awesome. Let me go ahead and get to it, and hopefully I can get it all done today, and this front deck will be done. All right, let's go. Whew, it's a hot one, guys. So I got almost half that line ran already. It's not the prettiest weld, I'm not gonna lie. Aluminum, like I keep saying, is tough, man, it's tough. But I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna get it all the way across. I'm gonna end up doing some grinding, grind it down. This is all gonna be C-decked anyway, but I wanna make sure it's penetrating, it grabs real good. And then I gotta go all the way around the outside perimeter as well and do a couple, 3-inch pass, 3-inch beads all the way around there. So let's see what we can do. Whew, got this out of the way. It looks pretty good. What a nice big long front deck. That's what I'm wanting for this gigging boat. All right, guys, so it's been a few days. As you know, in Florida, it's been raining like crazy for a week, so we had to take a little break. But now we're back on the John boat. I have to get this thing done. Flounder season's right around the corner. So what I'm doing now is I have got a bottle jack up under the deck. And what it does is it makes this nice and tight for me where I can tack all this together, run a bead along here, get it right, and make it strong. Because eventually what I'm gonna do is get it all done, weld it up, and then I'm gonna cover it with C-deck, some cheap C-deck off Amazon. But that's the goal right now. I also got a die for my tubing bender. I'm gonna do a rail around here for our gigging lights and everything. But right now, I'm gonna get this deck finished. And that's what we're working with right now. I've got it all kind of tacked up right now. I've ran a bead all the way across here. It's not the prettiest bead, but as you can see, it's penetrated really well, and it has bracing underneath, so that's good. All right, well, let me get to tacking this up and welding it, and we'll get going. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a tack every couple inches, and then I weld in between the two, like you see right there. So I put a tack here, I put a tack here, and then I weld it across the two. That way I got a good bond. I know the tack's good, and then I can run the bead and it right behind it. It doesn't pull too bad. All right, I'm gonna get back to it. Hopefully I can get this whole thing done tonight. All right, guys, so it's all welded in. Finally got it all welded in. The welds are not the best. I'm not proud of them, that's for sure. Welding aluminum, if you know anything about welding aluminum with a MIG welder is tough. Kept blowing through in a couple spots in the old deck that was a little bit thinner. I used 1/8 inch thick on the new stuff, but this old stuff, the green stuff, it's a little thinner, and it's tough to weld MIG with a MIG welder because it's hard to adjust your heat. I was able to get it though. Of course, there's a lot of grinding to make it look good. I know that's not the thing a good welder would do, but that's what I did on this Jumbo. It's better than putting a wood deck in, but that's not what I want to do. I did not want to put a wood deck in or anything like that. It gets waterlogged. But I'm really handy with steel, but welding with aluminum is a little tougher, like I said. So here's the finished product. You know, I'm grinding it down, of course. You can see where I was welding it. Here's one without grinding it down. You can see it's welded, it's penetrated. It penetrated really good, really good. It was actually going through some spots. I could see some molten on the other side, so I know it penetrated really good, and that's what counts. It's there. I did all the way around. I'm grinding it, and like I said, there it is without me grinding it. That's what my bead looks like, if you will. It's not terrible, but it's not the best either. But that's what it looks like. It's coming out pretty good. This is about a 6-foot deck, as you can see right here. So far, I've got the deck in. I'm gonna grind it all down and get it prepped. I got the floor in. So next, for the ultimate gigging boat, I'm gonna do a railing. I made a tubing bender probably about 5-6 years ago. I've never used it. I got new dies for it. But I'm gonna make a railing that goes all the way around the front so I can mount all my lights. I'm pretty pumped about this boat. I'm also gonna be using this boat for nighttime shrimping, that's dip netting. I'm gonna have the lights, I'm gonna have the railing, it'll be really cool for that. I'm pretty stoked about it. So I got the 25 Merc, which is ready to rock. I got it all tuned up. Floor's in. I'm putting a railing on right here. And then I'm also gonna put a grab bar in the center with a cooler. I'm gonna paint it all up and put some SeaDeck or some fake SeaDeck in there, some EVA foam, and that'll be it. Should be ready to rock. All right, guys, well, that's all I got on this episode for the front deck. It's all in. I'm gonna put the pipe bender to use real quick, bend up that railing. I'll put that on the next video for you guys, so stay tuned for that. And if you have any questions or if you have anything that you wanna add, what I should do to this boat, let me know in the comments. Really appreciate the comments. All right, guys. See you on the next video. And if you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out on YouTube. All right, guys. See you on the next one. Jacked Up out.